All right, so here we are. It's 2021, and this is the first race of the Florida season, which I feel like is going to be the only season because Florida's just doing whatever they want. So, first race, Swamp Classic. We had the road race yesterday and time trial, and today you're going to be watching the crit. So I'm just going to kind of break down what happened in the road race yesterday and the time trial, and then I'll move into kind of what's going on here in this race. Yesterday was an 80-mile road race in Micanopy, Florida. So the hills, not really many hills, a couple little kicker climbs, 2-3%ers, nothing that's going to really break the field up. And had a 9-mile time trial right after the 80-mile road race. The biggest problem that, I ran into was the weather. I don't train a whole lot in the cold. I ended up kind of just doing a lot of Zwift on these colder days, and I really think that kind of shot myself in the foot with that. So the time trial was, I got 8th place in the time trial, and in the road race, I went out there, it was pretty aggressive. And most of the race I was shut down. We had a field of 70 guys and a lot of heavy hitters that just are next level kind of racers. We had a showing from Best Buddies. We had Vegan Cyclist came out with his crew, ride bikes. We had a couple other guys from California. We had our team Amino Rip and Somi Bike. So, the whole race was really well represented with a lot of strong riders. So, and the whole double line rule was in effect. So just kind of moving up throughout the peloton was a little bit difficult. They weren't too hard on us with the whole double line. We ended up taking a lot of the road most of the day, but you still had to kind of watch what you were doing and pick and choose when you were going to try to move up through the peloton. So I spent a lot of my day just being at the front and trying to cover moves and surf wheels. Everything was pretty much unsuccessful. The early break went with one of my guys, Owen Schott, with Butcher Box, and it looked pretty promising for a while, but a lot of people were trying to bridge that breakaway. So I was just trying to stay represented and surf those wheels and try to maybe cross the gap to help him out. Ended up coming back, and a couple other attacks were failed. The one that ended up sticking was with Best Buddies, Michael Hernandez. I don't know when he went. I ended up going to the back for 5 minutes or so to go talk to Owen, and that break went, and by the time that we could respond, it grew pretty quick. It sounded like a couple committed guys went, and then some people crossed the gap and just stayed away. Owen and I tried to bring it back with very little help from anybody in the peloton. And that's the thing about Florida racing. I feel like, there's no if a break goes up the road and other teams aren't represented, shouldn't everybody just work together to bring that break back? When you have 70 guys in a field and you have teams that have 8-9 guys on each team, they should really be helping too. And it's just almost, they felt like attacking the people working was more beneficial than actually bringing that break back, because the break was successful and Michael Hernandez did win the road race. So can't wrap my head around that. I guess we just need to be more vocal and try to commit other riders to work together and bring these breakaways back. And I think we got it down to 15 seconds at one point, and then it just all fell apart. So that was kind of an issue. With the time trial, it was cold. Like I said, it was 51 degrees, and the rain was rolling in, and we had some pretty strong crosswinds at the time trial. So going into that, mentally I was just already broken because I missed the move, and I was a little pissed off about that. So time trial, I didn't have a good showing on the exact same course from last year. I think I did 100 watts less and 2 minutes slower. So I can't really chalk it up to, is it cold weather? Is it just mentally drained? Was it just, am I getting weaker? I don't know. And so, going into the crit, we had, I had to figure something out. We needed to somehow pull something and make a good result out of this weekend. So earlier on in the day, Owen did the 40-plus race and ended up getting third. He established the break about 40 minutes into the race with Bruno from Pioneer Mortgage and Mark Tucker from, I don't know who he races for, but I know he's from California. So that was a successful breakaway, and Bruno actually ended up taking that win, so congratulations to him. And we got third with Mark rolling in second place. So going into the P12 race, once again, we had a super stacked field on a course that is almost like a go-kart track. As you can see here, you don't have any curbs. It's wide open. It rained the entire night, so the course was muddy everywhere. And people were just flying off the course, going into the mud, coming back into the course. Luckily, when we raced, the wind wasn't significantly bad. I would say we probably had a 5 to 7 mile per hour headwind coming into this left turn that we're going into now that you see. And that really kind of, what that did is it bunched everybody up. And a lot of the complications in the race came at this point where everybody hit that headwind and it almost guttered everybody to try to get that protection. And people were going off the road and we were hitting each other, bars bouncing. So this was probably the most dangerous point of the race. The 180 hairpin turn really didn't cause any problems throughout the entire day. As you can see watching this video, I don't have any kind of data overlay. Unfortunately, I filmed in 1080p and like 60 frames per second, so the Garmin Verb app is not able to process that. So next time I'll make sure I have the settings correct and we'll get some data overlay for you guys, because this would have been a good one to see. We did I stayed at the front once again, tried to just, it's almost like I had a leash on this weekend. I couldn't go anywhere. I was shut down, so kudos to them for shutting me down, but I need to just go back to the drawing board and figure out how I can capitalize and we can make things work as a team, because a lot of attacks just launched. And I was trying to be in these attacks and I was trying to be aggressive, but everything just kept getting brought back. As I attacked, I could always hear up, 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 up. So everybody was always alerting. I attacked from the front, the back, the sides, into the headwind, into the tailwind, into the turns, and just nothing successful. So unfortunately, we're gonna go back to the drawing board and figure out what we can do as a team to make everything more successful. Luckily, it's only February, and hopefully we do have a long season ahead of us with us going into the USA Crit Series. We're gonna see what we can do. As you can see, we're kind of, it's like in this broken up phase right now where a breakaway might be going up the road. Once again, I'm just going to kind of watch and see what happens here. I don't really want to do a whole lot of work because it's ultimately going to get brought back. And here goes Travis McCabe. He's going to go ahead and try to bridge this. Kelly Benefits, Michael Hernandez. And it's just, gets brought back together pretty quick. As you can see here, I'm just going to go ahead and try to make my way up. I know it's slowing down a little bit, and there's Hernandez responding. You have Ruben on the front, and I'm going to go ahead and try to get a breakaway established. I'm always hoping when I do this that maybe like one or two really committed guys will come with. It seems what happened is two guys that don't have any kind of strength come with, and they don't want to rotate. They're not committed. They're not breakaway riders, so they're just chasing wheels, and they get into something and expect, you know, someone to pull them along, and you're not going to do that for 40 minutes of a race. So we're hoping that, you know, committed guys will go with. Unfortunately, you know, it got brought back pretty quick at this point, so we're going to go ahead and sit up and kind of roll to the back again. You can almost sense at this point, like, yeah, so it slows down. I'm going to go ahead and try to launch one more attack. It wouldn't be bad for, you know, Hernandez and I and maybe one other guy to get up the road. Yeah, that's a pretty good breakaway. And I really thought that's what was going to happen, is that, you know, he definitely does like the breakaway. So if he goes up the road, I really want to try to be represented in that. But unfortunately, it didn't happen today, and just a lot of strong guys bringing everything back. This move right here, this was the move that I thought was going to be the winning move. We had Travis McCabe, we had Will from Amino Rip, and we had a Kelly Benefits guy launch. At this point, I was me and Hernandez at the front, and both of us kind of looked at each other and was like, yeah, we're good with this. And unfortunately, you know, I was told to get off the front, and so I kind of peeled off, and I knew as soon as I peeled off, people would start launching. And as soon as I did, you had the guy from Ride Bikes Bro, you had Artem Schmidt, you had Cinch Cycling, and then after that you just had to train. That was a huge threat of a breakaway, and I felt like if me and Michael just sat at the front for a little bit longer, what would have happened was that we would have had a successful breakaway with Best Buddies and Amino Rip. you can kind of see the size of this field is just so strung out and fast from the very beginning of this race. I think we averaged almost 27 miles an hour for this 70-minute crit, and a lot of it was just strung out, fast-paced, fast through the turns, bumping into everybody. It was just really a fun race. You don't really get a whole lot of races at this caliber, so to be with all these guys and just experience it was a lot of fun, and I really look forward to what USA Crits has to bring. Yeah, so with USA Crits, I mean, you have 250 guys that enter these races, and it's just full gas from the beginning. I don't know what it's going to happen this year with COVID, if we're going to have limited signups. I know we're D1 this year, so we're going to be in them, but I don't know if they're just going to allow that many people to sign up for these races. So it's going to be interesting to see what exactly happens with USA Crit Series. And now going into the final laps, you know, everybody's fighting for position. One thing, don't take your hands off the bars and ever push somebody out of the way. Keep your hands on the bars. If you want to push, go ahead and shove your shoulder into me and dig your head into me and push me out of the way. But don't ever take your hands off the bar and shove somebody for your position. It's just not how it goes. But luckily I wasn't crashed out. I was able to kind of change my balance. But man, if I would have went down because somebody took their hands off and shoved me out of the way, it'd be a different story right now. So hands on the bars, shove me out of the way any other way you want, but don't push. Kind of strung out right here. We're gonna go into the final laps. There's really not much more to talk about. We ended up getting second place overall. Sebastian was able to snag that. And we're going to be going into Chain of Lakes at the end of this month, and that's going to be the 80-mile road race or 70-mile road race. So hopefully I get to go up to that and get some footage. And be sure to subscribe to this channel and go ahead and write in the comments and let me know what you think about these races, and we'll keep making them and we'll go from there. But thanks for watching, and until next time.